So today's video is supposed to be something else, but when something like this hits, you have to cover it. If you thought I was going to cover the Disney 20th Century Fox merger slash buyout slash bad fucking decision, well, you're half right. To get this out of the way for those who just can't wait, it's terrible. I don't care about the X-Men and the Fantastic Four going to the MCU. If you want me to go more into that, wait until the end of this video. This topic, however, is far too good to pass up on, and it's about Disney. This article comes from IGN and it's called Film Critic Organizations Blacklist Disney from End of Year Awards. Calls Disney's actions antithetical to the principles of free press. Four major societies of film critics have denounced Disney and announced that they will disqualify any film made by the media giant from consideration in their End of the Year Awards. Last week, Disney said the Los Angeles Times had not met basic journalistic standards in its reporting about Disneyland Anaheim, and chose to bar the newspaper journalists from advanced screenings of its films, which include Marvel and Star Wars. In a statement which I'll read below, the LA Film Critic Association, the New York Film Critics Circle, the Boston Society of Film Critics, and the National Society of Film Critics denounced the actions and set up their own boycott. And now this is the press statement as said. A statement from the LA Film Critic Association, New York Film Critics Circle, the Boston Society of Film Critics, and the National Society of Film Critics, dated November 7th, 2017. The members of said names, because I'm really tired of reading all those names, jointly denounced the Walt Disney Company's media blackout of the Los Angeles Times. Furthermore, all four critics organizations have voted to disqualify Disney's films from year-end awards consideration until said blackout is publicly rescinded. On November 3rd, the Times published a statement that its writers and editors have been blocked from attending advanced screenings of Disney films in response to the Times' news coverage of Disney's business arrangements with the city of Anaheim. Disney's actions, which include an indefinite ban on any interaction with the Times, are antithetical to the principles of a free press and set dangerous precedent in a time already heightened by hostility towards journalists. It is admittedly extraordinary for a critics group, let alone four critic groups, to take any action that might penalize film artists for decision beyond their control. But Disney brought forth this action when it chose to punish the Times journalist rather than express its disagreement with a business story via ongoing public discussion. Disney's response should gravely concern all who believe in the importance of free press, artists included. The New York Film Critics Circle will vote on its annual awards Thursday, November 30th. The LA Film Critic Association will vote Sunday, December the 3rd, Boston on December the 10th, and the National Film Critics will vote Saturday, January 6th. As you can see here, Disney tries a lot of bullshit. And I'm really happy that these critics have finally come together to do something about it. Because if they're so petty and they're so egotistical that they're going to pull this just on the fact that they didn't like how Disneyland news was reported, think about what would happen if they have more power. Let's talk about what would happen if they say, I don't know, merged with 20th Century Fox, one of the biggest entertainment companies in the fucking world. So if that kind of stuff doesn't scare you, I don't know what will. Now, if you're only concerned about Marvel stuff, remove yourself from this conversation going forward. Because seriously, you cannot be objective here. Your fanboy ways will interfere with your logic and you will give anything to see Wolverine play with Iron Man. But even if that deal went down, you wouldn't get what you want. Hugh Jackman is done, and until there's a signed contract in place, any speculation you've heard over on Comic Book Cast 2 or whatever the stupid fucking channels are, and the candid comments mean Jack and shit, and Jack left town about 2 weeks ago. Did you like Deadpool? Well, an R-rated Deadpool stops with the sequel if Disney is involved. Disney will play on your hype and your goodwill, but ultimately would deliver a safe product to appease the investors. Why? Because that's their target, not you, and not your childhood. If you want to shove your head even further up your ass and spout off why this is good for Star Wars, well, then these next 3 words sum up my feelings about you quite accurately. Go fuck yourself. Do you really care about the well-being of a multi-billion-dollar company that you'll die on the sword for them? Does them owning the distribution rights for the original Star Wars excite you so much that the death of non-family films are worth it? You people already got a remake of the original, and it's called The Force Awakens. Enjoy it and shut up. 20th Century Fox is responsible for some of the greatest R-rated films of all time, such as Die Hard, Predator, Kingsman, Alien, and its sequel Aliens. Training Wheels Disney will bring back the golden days of the PG-13 action flick with no blood, no violence, or that cool factor that's been missing over the last few years. Disney is worried about its brand of entertainment permeating every fiber and washing away anything that's good and replacing it with what is safe. Remember, it's Disney that determines what is acceptable for you to watch, and you're about to give them that power when you champion their bullshit. Now let's talk about the word that will describe Disney if they're able to go on unrestricted. Monopoly. We all know what a monopoly is, but just in case the kids are up this early, a monopoly is the excessive possession or control of the supply or trade in a commodity or service. That accurately describes Disney's aspirations. They already got Star Wars and Marvel, and if they get their way, Fox. And maybe one day Warner Brothers. But that's okay, because Batman and Spider-Man will hang out. Get the fuck out of here with that stupid shit. Let's take a look at some other companies that have had unrestricted growth and are almost monopolies. Apple, Google, and Microsoft. I'll link to the articles that I'm quoting from my talking points. That way you can read way more into it than I'm going to cover in this video. But let's start with Apple. In the case of Apple, Apple, have been claimed by critics to combine stolen and or purchased designs that it claims are their own original creations. Criticisms of Apple include unethical business practices, such as anti-competitive behavior, rash litigation, and dubious tax tactics. Their production methods involving the use of sweatshop labor, customer service issues involving misleading warranties, and insufficient data security, and concerns about environmental destruction. Additionally, it has been criticized for its alleged collaboration with the U.S. surveillance program PRISM. Wow, makes me feel real good about not owning an Apple product right now. But let's talk about a company that I do use on a daily basis. Google. They're good and wholesome, right? Well, some of their criticisms are aggressive and contrived tax avoidance, misuse and manipulation of search results, and its use of other intellectual property concerns, that its compilation of data may violate people's privacy, censorship of search results and content, and the energy consumption of its servers, as well as concerns over traditional business issues such as monopoly, restraint of trade, antitrust, idea borrowing, and being a leftist ideological echo chamber. Google hosts and develops a number of internet-based services and products and generates profit primarily from the advertising through AdWord program. Google's stated mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. The mission and the means used to accomplish it have raised concerns among the company's critics. Much of the criticism pertains to issues that have not yet been addressed by cyber law. That sounds like a bright tomorrow if you ask me. And finally, Microsoft. Criticisms of Microsoft have followed various aspects of its product and business practices. Issues with ease of use, robustness, and security of the company's software are common targets for critics. In the 2000s, a number of malware mishaps have targeted security flaws in Microsoft Windows and other programs. Microsoft was also accused of locking vendors and consumers out of their products and of not allowing and complying with existing standards in its software. Total cost of ownership comparisons of Windows to Linux are a continuous point of debate. The company has been the subject of numerous lawsuits by several government and other unlawful monopolistic practices. In 2004, the European Union found Microsoft guilty in the European Union Microsoft competition case. Additionally, the EULA for Microsoft's programs are often criticized as being too restrictive. That sounds fun, right? Don't you just want all of your entertainment run like that? Now let's quickly talk about some of Disney's controversies and see how a major corporation like that in the entertainment world, which is comparable. So first off, Disney has had many controversies, some from special interest groups such as the Catholic League, the Southern Baptist Convention, and environmental groups as well. They've also been criticized and accused of having hidden sexual innuendo and subliminal messages in their films such as The Lion King, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and The Rescuers, which, last time I checked, had some tits in it. Also, they own Miramax. A guy by the name of Harvey Weinstein ran. Don't know if you've ever heard of him or what he's done lately, but Disney's associated with that, so what a surprise. They also already control ABC and ESPN, and remember how ESPN started to go down the toilet when they were talking about their political views recently? All under the thumb of fucking Disney. Don't even get me started on their fucking theme parks. Besides being overpriced junk, all the weird rules and restrictions that apply to Disney parks, it's almost bizarre. It's cult-like behavior. But you know what? It's Disney, so let's just give it a pass, guys. When I was a kid, it made me feel good, Hakuna Matata, and all that other bullshit. I want to close this video out before I get too depressed, but I just want to close it with this. You know those sci-fi movies where the dystopian government is in control and everything is a shitty commercial? Well, that's where we're headed if Disney gains absolute power, and you know what they say about that. So that's it for today. You heard me talk about the 20th Century Fox merger. You heard me talk about how Disney is essentially headed towards a monopoly. So I don't like it. I don't really like Disney having all this power. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Have you ever noticed that when entertainment was at its best in the 1980s, we had the best movies of all time, but we also had a very weak Disney? Disney really wasn't doing too much in the 1980s. Yeah, they had Little Mermaid at the end, but stuff like The Black Cauldron wasn't a huge hit. You had other animation studios, pump out some good stuff like Don Bluth Studios with his was it American Tail and Fievel Goes West. You had better kid films. Like nowadays, a kid's film is shit. And I'm not saying that at 29 a kid's film should be marketed towards me, but I can watch The Goonies. It appeals to everybody. It's not just for the 5-year-olds. There are little kids that want to act like adults. You look back on that as an adult and you go, I remember acting like that. It appeals to everyone. It's cross-generational, and we still talk about it 32 years later. And Disney wasn't involved. Disney wasn't involved with any of the great entertainment of the 1980s. Back then, they didn't own Star Wars. They've never had a hand in Back to the Future. They've never owned E.T. They don't deal in the greatest of all time entertainment. Basically, everything they've ever done has been derivative. Oh, we're going to retell fairy tales. Awesome. Well, you've seen the retelling of fairy tales. Have you ever heard of Kimba the White Lion? Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm talking about Simba, the child lion. Or am I talking about the fact that Disney essentially ripped off the entire Lion King from Kimba the White Lion? Look, there are videos talking about how Disney steals from other sources. It's really nothing new. I mean, look at Star Wars. The Force Awakens is A New Hope. And I don't care if you refuse to see it, just wake up and smell the fucking coffee. It's the same movie, just legally different, so they can't get sued. Or why? How could they get sued? They own it all. That's the fucking problem. When they have no one to be held accountable to, they'll do whatever the fuck they want. Disney was accused of corrupting kids with subliminal messages. What if they decide to go back down that route? I'm not even going to get into conspiratorial stuff because I'm not here to talk about that. Even if everything's on the up and up with Disney, it's up and up bullshit. I hate them as a corporation. I know everyone's so pumped. Oh, I loved it when I was a kid. I can't wait to see the live action Lion King or the CGI Lion King or whatever the fuck it is. What's the purpose? Over the last 20 years, they really haven't put out anything too original and great. Toy Story was really a Pixar creation, which they kind of screwed them over. And I'm trying to think what else Disney did. Everything's just historical or remade or taken from somewhere else. So that you can see where they fall in line with similar things. They're a lot like Apple. Remember, in the criticisms of Apple thing I read, they take ideas and claim them to be their own. Well, Disney likes to lay claim to a lot of stuff that really isn't theirs. Tell me what you guys think. I'm very down on Disney. I'm sure there are hundreds of thousands, millions of other people out there that feel the same way about Disney. I bet a lot of them work in the entertainment industry too. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Also, if you're finding this video, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And if you've already subscribed, hit the thumbs up, share the video, and do me a favor. Yes, the Patreon's important. We'd like to help the channel grow. We're getting ready to buy new equipment in a couple weeks. But watch yesterday's video. Everyone said they want a video. Well, yesterday's video was a video, and a small amount of you have watched it compared to just me talking. So maybe I don't need to make videos because no one watches them. If you want me to just talk, I'll just talk. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with Comment Slam. I'm not going to tell you what the topic is because I don't want to ruin the element of surprise. And if you're a patron of World Class Bullshitters, you have access to a ton of great content. You have access to the Batman 89 commentary plus, the Force Awakens commentary, the Star Wars Rogue One commentary, or Rogue One, a Star Wars story commentary. I don't want my fandom called into question because I said the name out of order, but those are over there, as well as early access to the James Bond commentaries, which the first one goes live today on the 007th of every month at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so be on the lookout for that. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Thanks for watching this video. Share it with everyone. Spread the word. Disney should not own any more properties. Disney should not own anything else. They should just go fuck off in their happy little they should just go fuck off in their happy little corner of La La Land and leave entertainment for everybody. I don't want everything homogenized and safe for kids. It just makes me want to go back and watch shit like Beverly Hills Cop where they say fuck every 25 seconds. So thank you for watching, and we'll be back later.